Welcome, creative friends. Ed and Edie coming at you with take 2 on the Christmas in July swap makes. So this is the second lot of swaps that I made for a retreat that I'm going to in America later in the year. And the request was to make 10 Christmas gift tags. There were no real size restrictions. They did give you a minimum size, but I've made mine a little bit bigger than that. And I've featured the Uniquely Creative frame die, and I've altered the size on that a little bit so that it fit in on the tag shape. And I've used a Vicki Boutin collection because Vicki will be one of the teachers at this retreat, so I thought it might be nice to use one of her collections. And I've used the double-sided papers. I am going to add one clear paper die cut on the back of each of these, as the request was to put somewhere for writing on the gift tag as if it was to be used as a traditional gift tag. So I've made the frame and turned each of those into a shaker with a Christmas mix inside. So I had to make a massive mix. That was good fun. And then I've really just piled up the embellishments using different height across. Sometimes I've used Uniquely Creative Christmas die cuts, as there weren't enough in the collection from the Vicki die cuts. But apart from that, everything is from the VB range. I have used little border strips on the bottom, which is a very old paper tray die that I have. That is potentially my most used die, and it's having another iteration at the moment. And just some simple circle features at the top there, so that I can thread the ribbon through and tie it off. And then I've got a little tied onto the gift part with the twine, and then the ribbon will just shine away at the top there. Absolutely love bringing all of these different elements together to make some pretty wonderful tags. Wonderful in my opinion. I hope they're well received. I do have a lot of these stars that I bought with the Vicki Boutin collection, so it was really nice to finally let some of them go. And these little shiny stars are from Uniquely Creative. Everything else is up the VB range, and they're all a little different because I just used what I had in the range. Sometimes some of the bigger elements I cut apart so that they fit, but each one has the same frame and shaker and stars and some sort of embellishment. Might be a different border strip and different ribbons. But apart from that, they're all pretty much coordinated. Lots of shaking going on. I loved this wreath with the big bow. Different ribbons up the top. And then a Christmas tree, so I was able to put one of the stars at the top there, but continue with the stars. Using some foil. And then some of the big florals and the envelope. This time I used a little tab on the top there. I thought it was a bit bare, so I added that one on. Coming in with the joy. So this style is from the range by Vicki Boutin. More of her stars there. And the hearts. So I made 10 of these. It is a make 10, receive 10 or thereabouts. You may get a few more than 10 in your group. I'm not going to find that out for another week or so, but if I need to, I'll just whip up another one now that I've got the rhythm down pat of mixing those all together. And then this one again with the garland up the top and the big baubles. Another of Vicki's sentiments there. More shakety shake shaking and just using all of the, I only really with this range had the 6x8 paper pad, so I was lucky to be able to get all of these out of that, and there's still plenty left over. I did buy a couple of individual sheets, I think, at the time, but mainly the 6x8 paper, which is nicely double-sided, and the last one there. So these will be packaged up nicely as well in some way and taken in that suitcase on the plane. I hope they make it all there in one piece. I thoroughly enjoyed making them, and I hope they're well received at the other end. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Enjoy.